Jackson taken down. Get a handball out. No one's got energy left after a tremendous scrap at the Adelaide Oval. The West Coast Eagles gave it their best shot, but they couldn't sustain it. The stars really shone when it mattered. And Port Adelaide survive the scare and get their 8th win of the season against the gallant West Coast Eagles. Port by 26 points.
Alrighty, hello, welcome to the CREEDCAST. My name is Dave, and as always, thank you for joining us, whether you're listening on the various podcast platforms out there or watching on the tubes of you. Back on the winners list are your Port Adelaide Football Club this weekend, overcoming both their own piss-poor skills along with a fast-starting West Coast to ultimately get on top in the last quarter, like the British retaking Burma in 1945 after a torrid multi-year struggle. The final score, 12-15, 87 to 9-7, 61. I wasn't there as unfortunately I've been quite sick for the past week. The cough button is getting quite the workout in the background over the last couple of episodes. But Jamie was there, so a big good evening to our soldier on the ground for this one. Sinking Guinness apparently, which I'm very sad about.
Hello.
Jealous about. Not sad about. I'm glad you got Guinness, but...
Me too.
Yeah, how's this result sunk in for you since now that we're like 48 hours past it?
Look, I want the season to end. Is that a symptom of the weekend? Just a reality of where we find ourselves at? I'm not entirely sure. As usual, and hello to everyone tuning in. Thanks for joining us. As usual, watching a replay, it's always better than in the moment. But we didn't get the 10-goal win. We didn't get the so. For the Patreon members, thank you as always. Love you. But on the squad show, it was that our expectation was 10 goals for a drier weather game or 6 to 7 for a wet weather game. And in the end, we just had to be happy with what we got. Mostly due to a pathetic first quarter. But yeah, if you didn't bring it up, I was going to. What wasn't pathetic and a little bit funny was the fact that Adelaide Oval finally stocked up on a dark beer. Just so happened to be the one weekend that Dave couldn't go to the football. So yeah, I did enjoy that. I enjoyed that a lot, actually. The football, yeah, we were chatting after the game with a couple of guys, and yeah, pathetic. We were asleep, and then we woke up, but then we couldn't score. So Port Adelaide wrapped in a neat little package, if you will.
Yeah, and there's like a little bow on top with the fact we got more injuries within the game to
injuries, of course. Yeah, exactly.
Players.
Yeah.
One of them that we knew of on the day. One of them that we found out about afterwards, which makes his efforts in Jason HORNE-FRANCIS is all the more special, which we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, to start with, it's frustrating. Beyond the frustration of not being able to enjoy the Guinness, I did say to you in text that I think Adelaide Oval is trolling me because I've been hunting for dark beers and even asked around at the Oval to find out they don't have them, and then they get Guinness this weekend, which, as you've said, might be something to do with the rugby tour that went through town. But beyond those frustrations, that first quarter, so much of what we have been frustrated about at different times, whether it be slow starts or, whether it be slow start and then finish fast or fast start and finish slowly, just the consistency quarter to quarter. And Rosie said at quarter time on the telecast, which I'm sure you've seen in the replays, maybe it depends on what replay you watch, but he kind of intimated in the quarter time just that they were low energy at the start. There was low energy. It's just like, why? Like what predicates a low energy? And I guess maybe you could you could extrapolate out to how the season's going, maybe some subconscious things that are going on. But, you'd think that you could still, like, the non-negotiable for me is just at least, some token, and just the lack of skills was real. Like, it was piss poor. Like, it was 55. I think most of the quarter it hovered around Port at 55% versus West Coast in the upper 70% for kicking efficiency. And it's like, that shouldn't be that way with some of the ball users we have versus the fact that West Coast are a team where they are. It's just a ridiculous And that's just a lack of intent and a lot of different mental things I have to put it down to. And I just think that's inexcusable regardless of the situation we're in. Did it look like to you on the day, looking down from your vantage point, that they were just expecting the game to come a bit easier for them in that first quarter?
In a way it did. I think Ken did also mention in his post-match presser that we were trying to be a bit too cute or a bit too complicated, which kind of potentially wraps in all the same. If you're not going in with the right mindset, you're not sticking to the basics, playing the percentages, you're just trying to fuck around with it, to be frank. And that's what I say. Yeah, there was some poor execution, but also some options that made you scratch your head. But ultimately, it probably did come down to the fact that they didn't expect West Coast to come with as much fight as they did, which is an indictment on everyone, because we saw West Coast perform handsomely well against Collingwood very recently, in a fairly similar game, where they were up and about at half time and Collingwood ended up breaking away. But yeah, nothing will excuse it. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah.
We're playing pretty much for, I don't really know. We're playing for miles in legs and experience to younger guys, like we've spoken about, a few other bits and pieces, Lukosius and Mitch, which we'll get to. But yeah. And it kind of furthers my belief that if we weren't playing for our season last week against Brisbane, it potentially would have ended up how our other heavy losses have ended up. I feel I still have that lingering thought that the reason why we did stick at it for so long against Brisbane, and credit to them for doing so, men down, we've spoken about all of that, but that the season was technically still alive at that point. And now
Yeah.
it's not. And yeah, the kind of pressure of performance was potentially off. But as a competitor myself, and obviously you can't get to AFL level without being some part of a competitive beast. Like when there's a potential live kill or a perceived live kill, I don't know. I would just want to act the way that Zach Butters did. I mean, he was one of very few in the first quarter that was flying the flag, and actually seemed like he wanted to go for the kill from the word go against a lowly opponent, where you can fill your boots and have a bit of a day out. Now, in saying that, we copped our whack on the chin after quarter time, and like I said, we woke up. And there was a 50 odd point turnaround from that point on. But we kicked 10 goals 13 to 3 goals 4 after quarter time. We kept West Coast goalless in the last quarter, for God's sake. Like, you segment it out and you go, okay, that's where we expect it to be. But then the conversion was all fucked, and it doesn't offer that kind of reward at the end, although there was some nice moments, as there always will. Yeah, it was just a nothing game. The head to heads on the ground probably are the only things that will stick in people's mind as the days go by. The game is pretty forgettable, though.
Yeah. We had 16 scoring shots to their 4 in the second half, and their total scoring shots from the second quarter or first quarter time onwards were 7 versus their 9 in the first quarter. So it really was just a tale of. I said on Twitter, I said it felt very St Kilda-y to me, and I think I've sent it in text.
Yes, I saw that.
Well,
yeah,
that we just had a piss poor first quarter against St Kilda earlier in the year, and then had a really good statistical comeback across the further 3 quarters, but we just couldn't quite bridge that gap. And thankfully, West Coast are probably just a little bit less experienced, and St Kilda were in a decent vein of form at the time as well. But yeah, it just felt like we were going to, let one quarter dictate how a game would go. But I mean, credit to them that they fought back. and really did dominate in a lot of areas. I mean, some of those statistical domination is bewildering. A few, I mean, the commentators talked about it. I'm interested how it looked on the day, but how West Coast kind of changed the way they play a little bit to try to take the game away from us early, and kept on trying
Mm,
throughout the game. And because they're marking, I mean, they took 87 marks to our 70 for the game. That gap was a lot bigger earlier in the game as well. Um, that is basically a flip flop of where the teams average, because West Coast averaged 73 for the year, we average 88, and whereas West Coast take 87 in the match versus our 70, we still ultimately took more inside 50, which was probably, and we just were a bit didn't utilize those opportunities as well as we could with some of those kicks for goal, but the last quarter
100%.
um, but yeah, it was just funny seeing that we had commentators going, "Geez, this is a different West Coast," and I'm like, "Why does it always have to be us to get the team doing something different?" Like, I had that.
Why is this happening to me?
Yeah. I was at quarter time when I was really down in the dumps after how they'd come out against us, and I was just sitting there like, was it the character in the Matrix when they realized that Joe Pantoliano's character is like pulling the plugs on him in the ship, and it's the girl with the
Yeah,
white hair,
right.
and she just turns around when she realizes, and she just looks at him and goes, "Not like this, not like this," and then the plug gets pulled, and she's like, "Ah." And I was just like that. I was like that at quarter time. I was like, is this where our season like finally truly dies and just getting beaten by West Coast at home? And I was just like looking at the TV, just like, not like this, not like this, not getting dominated by fucking West Coast. So I'm glad we turned it around, but they did really try to take apart from Zach Butters really putting the team on his back in that first quarter. West Coast really, they obviously were skills were much better. They were picking out the targets better. They were playing the game on its merits, whereas as you said, we were trying to be too cute.
Yeah, yeah. There's no other way about it. And I thought about our mate Eddie Corns, and shout out to him from our mid-season show. His hypothetical situation was to say goodbye to Ken after a loss at Brisbane, coming into a soft kill against West Coast. And I was like, well, if he lose, he may get, yeah, it may happen just in a really obscure and different way.
Mm,
Um, Yeah, yeah, it was pretty average. I mean,
yeah.
like not like this. Yeah, as you know, and I've lightly mentioned it before, my old man, he's going through a few health battles, but he actually
Mm,
made it out to the weekend's game for the first time since the St Kilda game, I think it was. It
mm,
was the last time he was able to go to the football. Yeah, I felt sorry for him early doors because yeah, it's just like not like this, but like I've finally come out. It's fucking cold, and we perform like shit.
yeah.
And while it was annoying, I mean, you expected maybe it was a bit of hope that it would just eventually turn around,
Mhm.
and it did.
Yeah.
Um,
Took a bit longer to
Became
turn
a lot
around though,
more.
but we did well.
Yeah, but I think that's mostly
Statistically and
due to an
skills wise, we turned it.
inefficiency.
Yeah, we turned it around quickly. I think as far as our ball use and our efficiency and getting the momentum back our way and
Mm,
moving like flipping the field so to speak for an NFL parlance, we had the game moved into our half more from the second quarter onwards. As you said, just inefficiency meant that we should have been up by half time maybe, but then it took us all the way through to the early
yeah,
fourth quarter really to finally get a break on them. And it was one of those rare times where you get up by 8 points and you go, I think we're good. Like I rarely do say that, but it just felt like there's just the
yeah, because
waves of
the
momentum.
wheels looked like they were slowing for West Coast
Yeah.
in live play after half time. And although I thought we dominated the second quarter as well,
Hmm.
yeah, you could see the screws tightening on our behalf, and yeah, the wheels starting to slow down on West Coast's behalf. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, after quarter time, 3 goals four to one, 1 goal two. After halftime, yeah, 2 goals six in the third quarter, and then 5 goals three. So the
Yeah.
last quarter, we won the last quarter, by the way. Yeah, and it took until the last quarter to actually find the middle of the big sticks more often than not.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. Oh, so sorry, it's just come back to me in regards to the first quarter. So one thing that I don't think it got mentioned on commentary, but the wind was heavily going towards the northern end, and
Briefly
we
got
won the
mentioned
toss.
at the end of the
Yeah,
first quarter, but that was it. It was the first time I'd heard.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the flags were teeming towards the northern end, in my
Mm.
opinion, and yeah, kind of won the toss, and then decided to start with the cheer squad, which I don't know if he's just had a mare. It's a bit of a Trent Cotchin moment.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of the goals that we gave up to West Coast were pretty much based off turnover, but it's still a bit of a mindset thing, right? Is it starting with the cheer squad because that's a kind of default position?
They seem to like kicking towards the northern end in the last quarter if they get the chance, it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously, and I mean, we all well know what happens when you start against the wind at Adelaide Oval.
Mm.
It just maybe
It's folklore at this point,
was
what that does.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It maybe just painted a picture of our mindset and just expecting things to happen. It's like, oh, we'll give them the wind in the first quarter, because yeah, we'll just run out the game well anyway. But again, a live kill, so to speak, a team
Yeah.
that's only won one game for the year. Why are you giving them? And so on West Coast behalf, they're probably going, all right, we got the win in the first quarter. Let's go hard at these guys. Like,
Mm.
I just don't understand why you would give an inch, let alone a mile.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Winning
was
is
just one
winning.
thing that returned to mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
winning is winning. Um, when
Not
you're
the
up against Dom Toretto,
yeah.
but West Coast Eagles, it's a slightly different story.
Yeah. You can have any beer you want as long as it's Cooper Stout in this house tonight. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one with because with the way the weather was looking as well, I think there was some rain throughout the game, wasn't there? Like I sometimes think when weather's
Yeah,
dodgy,
passing showers
yeah, when
and
weather's
light
dodgy,
showers.
yeah, they said they came down heavy at one point in the top commentary, but then it didn't seem to hold too much. And um, yeah, I just sometimes think you've got to start well and build from there rather than like because giving any team a 4 goal head start in the first quarter. And the irony of the win thing is that last they kicked those 2 goals in the last minute or two, and that last one that falls short, and Big Flinny, the ruckman from West Coast, marks it on like.
Yeah,
So they'd have the win, but the irony is they kind of misread that one, and it drops short, and he takes a mark and kicks the goal, and they get their 4 goal head start. And maybe any other team you're really worried about, maybe they was just like, oh, 4 goal head start to West Coast, we'll deal with it, and they did. So credit to them, but I yeah, gifting a 4 goal head start to any team is still fraught with danger. Particularly, we are a bottom 9 team at the moment. We're not performing greatly, so we should never be assuming. We're not Collingwood, of 2023 or even of recent
or
times.
like a Geelong of
Yeah,
their golden era, where
yeah,
Bombers eating a sandwich in the coach's box. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I completely agree.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I've said it before that I prefer if I had to choose a half to perform better in, I'd always prefer the first half,
hmm,
and more specifically the first quarter. Yeah, like you said, you want to start well and then build from there, not start ominously and try and save the game if it gets out of hand,
yeah,
which it did. And like you said, that they arrested momentum.
mm,
Yeah, I just go and like the wind did swirl a little bit, but the pro, yeah. So, but it largely was. I said to you before the game, like the weather was surprisingly good because we expecting it to be pissing down with rain.
mm,
But I said it was just windy as shit. And then, yeah, as it happens when you're kicking into the wind, so you're turning it over in the back half, back 50 on some occasions, but then trying to kick out of defensive 50 is all that more harder as
yeah,
well, regardless of talent, regardless of who you have or haven't got on the park. Yeah, so we're going for long kicks up on the wings, and then they're getting held up in the wind. Uh, yeah, I didn't understand it. Whether it was an accident or an oversight, I don't know, or a bit of cockiness. We won't know, but it
yeah,
just didn't make sense to me at all.
hmm,
And yeah, you're just like, what could have been if we did decide to kick with a win? I'm not, who knows? Because West Coast came out with a good attitude and we clearly didn't.
Yeah, ours was less than good, to put it mildly. Low energy. There's low energy in the gym. I guess we can start with the lines now. Start with the defense as per usual. It's an interesting game. It was made note of in the commentary that we missed. It's so funny, and this is one of those things that like I thought about this during the game about how preseason predictions and all that stuff. You can never account for just what the season may bring. And I don't think at any
Hmm.
point in the preseason anyone would have been expecting us to say how much we're missing Asava Radaglia, but we did in
Yeah,
this game.
yeah.
Um, Compounded by Alir looking like that knee is grumbly and will be grumbly for the rest of the season, I think.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Zerk Thatcher's just that those two were working together on like themselves for the first time without Asava this year in a system, and so a bit indifferent. And I think Alir's just lack of explosiveness just does affect everything we're doing a lot because you kind of like you're structuring up for him to do Alir things, and then if he's not quite able to do that, then it just kind of and you yeah, it just everything kind of broke down a little bit, as well as the fact that that's not going to be as big of a factor. And Aaliyah battled well, I think, throughout the game. I tweeted at one point like something about
Hmm.
shutting him down for the season. I still think maybe the knee's just one of those things that just needs an off-season thing, but and hopefully there's no chance of doing any more damage. But he clearly is hampered by it. Um,
Oh, clearly, yeah. He's on one leg
yeah,
for, want of a better term. And he ended up with 9 intercept possessions. I think
I
that
think he
was heavily
battled
weighted
well.
to the second half.
Hmm.
Yeah, when you consider the fact that he's clearly hampered by that knee, another credit to him. Because, yeah, as we mentioned a few times this year, that they've been getting sold out a little bit this year and they have to make ends meet somehow.
Yeah. And yeah, they weren't aided by the turnover in the first. Like, there's not much you can do as the key defenders when the ball's coming back in from just horrific turnover and whatnot. When you're trying to move the ball forward and then the ball suddenly turned over and West Coast are coming back in numbers, and you're hampered with a knee injury and yeah, the score from turnover was 8-5 to 3-8. So I mean, if we'd been more been better in front of goal.
Mm,
That margin isn't so bad, but I mean, 6 of West Coast's first 7 goals were directly from turnover, um, and that's the point. That's the whole reason this game was even a battle to begin with, was because we just could not fucking handle the ball, and we turn it over, and they were brutal turnovers. Like, there's a spectrum of turnover, and they're like these ones are
yeah,
just
yeah, absolutely.
Benny Hill bullshit is what it was. Like the Miles
Mm.
Bergman, like kicking one off the side of his foot that just dribbles forward. Matty Liddy kind of just getting caught, not knowing, and it was partly just it was just a lack of accountability for runners around. Like Matty Liddy kind of gets the ball, runs, and was like, wait, where are we going? And so then he gets caught, and then it comes back into turnover, and he gets tackled,
Hmm.
and it comes back, and just yeah,
Yeah, Sin's wrong-footed in the moment,
yeah,
can't collect the ball. Yeah, it was a bit ridiculous.
hmm
Benny Hill is a fair summation of it. Bergman had a hundredth that he'd probably prefer to forget. I mean,
great goal,
yeah,
though.
a few of
Yeah,
his great goal. Yeah, a few of his disposals though, you're just like, oh, what's going on? We wanted to kick our feet up, and now we got Miles kicking him off the side of the boot in his hundredth. Like, this is supposed to be party time, and yeah, yeah, he worked hard in the end, as he
yeah,
always does. But yeah, we don't help ourselves sometimes, and yeah, turnover goals really like from round one. I think we've been lamenting some turnover goals because, like you said, there are a spectrum, and yeah, we just seem to give up turnovers in critical spots, which
yeah.
we've spoken about plenty of times.
Lockie Jones, I think, still looks slightly short of a gallop in some moments, particularly on this day.
Yeah.
I don't know if the field. I mean, there was a lot of slippiness on the field. I don't know if it was the rain or some people have made mention of the fact there was the rugby there the day before, the night before.
Well,
Whether
it was greasy because
yeah,
of the light rain that came over a few times. Uh, like it is a reality. It
Mm.
wasn't. It still allowed for open play,
Yeah,
but there was a layer of moisture all over the ground. Yeah, and no long stops, so you see slippage.
yeah, no, no, no fines on this side of Adelaide. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, fucking cheats. Yeah, the defensive effort for me was, I think, really impressive as the game wore on. Again, Aaliyah battled well, got his intercepts. I think Zerk Thatcher had his moments as well. I like the
I
Ollie
thought he
Lord,
lifted in the second half as
yeah,
well. He started taking intercept marks, working Bailey Williams under the ball a lot of the
mhm,
time, which unfortunately, uh, on our end, I think Lukosius got sold out a little bit,
yeah,
but which we'll get to. But yeah, Zerk Thatcher started a bit slow. Sometimes when he gets caught um, with a forward just breaking away, he definitely looks slow. But
mhm,
that's where I think, like in a season like last year, where we were performing a little bit better, he's actually able to use his footy IQ to negate that speed differential. Dermot Brereton or someone on commentary might have also mentioned that. He's not the fastest guy, but his defensive nous
mhm,
bridges that gap more often than not. And then, yeah, in the second half, I think he showed that. I thought Kane Farrell had a great game as
yeah,
well. It won't probably go under the radar. It'll definitely go under the radar because of some of the other standouts. But saw a bit of Dan Houston in him
mhm,
this game. He some long kicks that just hit people square in the chest. Fantastic. But he was also getting in, spoiling, and featuring in different. And with Rosie having an indifferent night, it was important for a Farrell type to just make sure that he's carrying his own,
mhm,
and to as an extension of that, Burgoyne was in a bit of an indifferent night again as well.
yeah.
So credit to Farrell for joining in and lifting, because he is now becoming one of the leaders of the football club, and I thought he had a good game, and I didn't want that to be glossed over.
Mhm. Yeah, 85% use of the ball in a day that we weren't using it well at times, and his were predominantly, it was 18 kicks and two handballs. So when you think about disposal efficiency and you're predominantly using it by foot, that's a fairly good number for old Faz.
Hmm.
I think Sin had some nice moments as well. Again, I haven't got a full replay in myself because, as I've said, I've been sick and being a Sunday game and then I had a family birthday last night. I've worked both days. I just haven't had a chance to get one in. So I'm just recall memory on Sin. I thought he had a couple of nice moments. I don't think Ollie Lord had a great game, but I liked some of him. Just he was that touch that on the Jamie Cripps shot was like just that's what if you're thrown back into the defense, like if that's where you're at, like
Hmm.
that's using your like your length of body to great effect. And there's a few moments he looked to compete. He still looks a little bit kind of Bambi on skates out there at times. Just that, like how I don't know if it's just his confidence or how we're using him in the AFL system because he's clearly kicking goals at the Sandford level. So it's just like what we're doing with him. But just I know he's a
It was as
forward,
if he got picked as a second ruck
yeah,
for this
and
match,
because he was
not a forward ruck.
that's how I look at it. He's the Dante Vicentini because he was down back a lot. There's a lot of moments,
Yeah.
even if he didn't feature in the play, that you just see like Ollie Lord's there in the defensive half. So that's why I wanted to bring him up now because I think he just had a couple of nice moments down there. Again, I don't think he had a great game for what we want Ollie Lord to be, but to your point, I don't think he was picked to be. He wasn't a stay-at-home lead-up forward or anything like that. That's not what his role was in this game, and so in that sense, I think he applied himself well, even though it was probably a grind for him as a player that's been playing up forward pretty much his whole career, and certainly at the Sandford level since he's been dropped.
Yeah. My sentiments towards Ollie Lord are a little bit similar to comments I made about Ryan Burton, just in the
Mm,
attitudes of the wider fan base, is that I think so many people have had so much hope for him for so long that now they expect perfection. And I mean, I think he's 23. Like you've mentioned before, Same draft as Riley Thilthorpe. I think he's a similar age to Mitch Georgiadis on our end of things as well. And fairly or unfairly is now getting compared to players like that who are performing at a high level.
Mm.
When in reality, he's just a guy who was picked in the 40s. He's young, he's tall. And for a second ruck, I don't think his numbers were all that bad.
Mm.
Um, he's had the 7 hit outs, 2 to advantage, 9 disposals, um, all of which were contested, might I add. 88.9% disposal efficiency, and it's 28 meters gained, so a lot. They're all handballs and whatnot, but
So
5 score
it
involvements.
was a grind for him. That's what it was for this one. Yeah, and which I respect.
Well, it was just a support act.
Mm.
Holistically, he wasn't a key target up forward. He was the second ruck. So where uh, are the coaches expecting him to break a game open? Um, in that situation, I don't think they are. They're obviously trying to expose him to AFL as much as they practically can.
Mm.
Um, but we have a benefit at Port Adelaide at the moment of having a lot of key forwards, and him being a young one, he doesn't have to perform right now, in my opinion. We
Yeah.
have the benefit of being able to give him time, um, because we have Georgiadis in all Australian form, Lukosius, who they want as the second hybrid, and then ideally they want Todd Marshall as the tall
Yeah.
kind of bigger target for and it would be very interesting to see how he performs next year. I'm very interested in that. Uh, so on one hand, I understand the criticism, but on the other hand, I'm just like, well, we've got time. There's people wanting to use him as trade currency or whatnot, and I don't know. Yeah, if he
Yeah.
was 26, 27 and still performing at this level, then some questions are asked. But
Well, he wouldn't be getting
on
much
the
trade
fly,
currency. He wouldn't be getting much trade currency either because the one's
well,
that
yeah,
age.
that's
So
exactly
yeah,
right.
that's the
So yeah,
yeah.
he's still 23. Yeah, it's easy to compare him to other 23-year-old key forwards, but some key forwards are just better than others. And
And development isn't
progression and
linear. It's not
I
purely
was
age
you took
based.
the words
Yeah.
took
Sorry.
the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, 100% agree. Anyone who's been in any sort of training environment or managed people knows that everyone doesn't improve at the same rate, and
Mhm.
like you said, it isn't linear. So, the final against Brisbane a couple of years ago it did give him tickets for a
Mhm.
while, but I don't think he is resting on those laurels. And a lot of what I noticed on the replay are things that he was doing off the ball,
Mhm.
again, as a supporting act. And we've kind of just held on Ollie Lord here for a little bit, but that's what we tend to do. We stick up for players who we feel need sticking up for, while also acknowledging the fact that, like anyone on the list, he needs to get better.
Mhm.
We want everyone to get better.
Yeah.
It's only a reality of elite performance. But there's still time. Yeah, there's trade currency, but the club clearly prefer to keep good people at the club, and we have a pretty decent record
Mhm.
developing players that we either bring in or that we draft. So he did some good stuff at ground level. Like you said, saving a goal, which would have really hurt in the moment. I mean, we were under the pump as it was, and if that goal had counted,
Yeah.
it just would have deflated everyone even more. So
Mhm.
look, he
Very,
he's
very,
not he's
very
not a
funny moment as
mainstay.
well. Just looking at it in a defensive standpoint, with it, Cripps ran off, did the whole run off, and
Yeah,
made
and
a
then he was
goal.
on the bench.
Yeah, and it's his 250th, and the other commentators did have a good little laugh about that. That you should. I think one of them was just like, you should be able to. You should have to run back on if they call it back for a point. um,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I think with Ollie, there is a bit of clumsiness, but that's only due to his own inner competitor.
Mhm.
Sometimes he's a bit too overzealous with the way he tackles someone, or just with some of the ruck craft, which he's wildly unfamiliar with, to be fair,
Yeah.
giving away some pretty unnecessary free kick or avoidable because it wasn't like the intention was there to,
Yeah.
you know, give away a free kick. It was just avoidable. Like he kind of speckied. I don't know if it was Flynn or Williams at one point, and they called a high free kick because
Yeah.
he's just basically jumped over the top of the guy's head. So yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm bigger. Like, yeah.
yeah. He just it's just that inexperience
Yeah.
being in ruck contests, like trying to get an edge while also doing something illegal
Yeah.
because giving away a free kick. Um, yeah, I'm happy to call the Jets on him. The numbers aren't that bad. And like I said, he had 5 score involvements in the end, which look, it isn't at the top. It's nowhere near the bottom.
But it's decent
Um,
numbers for a second ruck that's kind of grinding in the trenches rather than actually a core
yeah.
contributor through the middle, like through anything.
Mm.
So yeah,
Well, Travis Boak, Kane Farrell, Miles Bergman, Hugh Jackson, they all had the same amount of scoring involvements. So
yeah,
um,
yeah. Not bad
he
names.
he got picked as our 20 to 23rd best player, and he performs as such. Like
Yeah.
yeah, just try and keep
And again,
simplify it in
yeah,
my
a
mind.
couple of nice moments. There'll be one we'll bring up probably when we talk about the forward line, I think. But and it's a good segue into talking about the middle. Anything else defensively, feel free to bring it up. But we can head to the middle of the ground, which
Yeah,
is
let's do it.
a, a funky area to talk about. A lot of fun. I mean, there's nowhere else to start, but Zach Butters, his intent in that first quarter is really what kind of dragged the rest of them into the game eventually, and it's kind of one of his very best games. Yeah, it's not going to get remembered maybe by anyone but the Nuffies like us, and the fellow Port Nuffies out there who will talk about the random games that your favourite players have had, and Butters having a game like this against West Coast. Unfortunately, if you have it against Collingwood or whoever, it gets a little bit more traction. But as far as what we see, having a player like him, his leadership on ground in that first quarter, thought his intent right from that first bounce when he wrapped up Harley Reid was just
Yeah, he did.
fucking beautiful. Like he just locked him up, and I was like, all right,
It was on the line, like it was on the line of almost giving a free kick away and being a legal tackle, and thankfully, um, just pull up.
yeah, yeah, and that was like right then. I was like, yeah, Butters is on, and then the rest of the first quarter happened, and it's like not many others are at the moment, but he was on. He did have a couple of moments where he got a bit too cute going inside 50. He's done it a few times this year, but
Mm,
you kind of look at him and go, that the gears in his brain, like he just exists on a different plane of existence as far as how he sees a field of football. So I get frustrated a little bit with those, but then I'm also like, I can't, you take the good with you take the mostly good with the occasional bad with Zach Butters, and it's not bad. It's just like he's tried to pick something off that's just, whether it's a forward line structure or he's just like he should have taken the easier option that was there, but he's trying to really pick off the. And when we've been playing better and at finals level, those ones usually come off. It's like it's symptomatic of just where we are that those ones aren't quite coming off for him at the moment, I think. But yeah, I mean, just an incredible performance. Obviously, that first quarter was 14, 15 disposals, I think, and then he goes on for almost 40. But that first, I think, just for him to set the tone, and then eventually everyone else caught up was really, really important that he had that first quarter. Because if he doesn't kind of get to that level and everything else stays the same, like God, who knows where that first quarter could have gone if he wasn't flying the flag there.
yeah, it was an amazing one. Yeah, another chapter in the Nuffy uh, Port Adelaide Book of History. Just yeah, 16 disposal quarter. Did you
16
say?
in the end. I
Yeah.
remember it with a minute to go. They were saying it was 14 disposals, and I wouldn't be surprised if we had a couple more by the end of it.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
link up. And yeah, you mentioned about the inside 50s. I don't know what the stats are this year in this regard and in terms of retention rate. I do know that Darcy Byrne-Jones is our best player kicking
Mm.
inside 50. But last year, I believe Zach Butters and JHF were 2 out of the top 5 in the competition for retention inside 50. And yeah, even JHF, yeah, like you mentioned with Butters and their gears are turning and the way they view the game of football. they more often than not, they pick off those sensible options that are going to give us a shot at goal. But both of them, yeah, were just their radars were a bit off in that regard, favouring West Coast advantage side on occasions, things like that. And you're just like, what's going on here? Like, yeah, you're a shit ton better than that. So
Like if Harry Edwards was wearing a port Guernsey, he would have had a bag. Like
oh, and I mean, he played a good game,
he did,
to be
yeah.
fair. But also got
It's getting a bit
assisted by
forward, but that was from midfielders. So
some of our
yeah.
some of our hapless inside forward 50 kicking. But yeah, and I suppose as port supporters and people like you and I, as you know, analysing the game right now, you do kind of view the game as 1 quarter and then 3 quarters, because after then, oh, everyone came to the party. I thought Ollie Wines had a fucking sensational
Oh my
game.
god, yeah.
As per
That's
under the radar,
That's
underrated.
Grange shit from Wines. That's
Oh
Penfold's
yeah.
fucking bin whatever fucking Grange.
Pun absolutely intended, by the way. But then Joe Richards coming up from a half forward, getting around stoppage. Hugh Jackson, the other guy, he was featuring, and then perhaps we got the switch back from last week where Hugh was Mark Wahlberg. I think Joe Richards was more Mark Wahlberg this time around. But you know, Jackson did some lovely things as a support act to the wider team. And I did want to focus on to spotlight Manny Liddy a little bit. Like you mentioned, like in the first quarter, he had that moment where he gave off the handball to essentially no one because Sin was, I think, trying to shepherd for him, and then he tried to handball to Sin. But just really impressed again as a support act to the wider team as a winger. He's typically playing on just being in the right places at the right times more often than not. Just offering that link up, but also just he has a bit of footy smarts, and it comes as no surprise when you think about it. And like the coaches and Chris Davies have said after the mid-season draft, it's like, well, these guys that we've picked up have been performing at highly at SANFL level. And when you rationalize it and think that if our guys were playing well at SANFL level, then they would be, looking for selection at AFL level. So it's no surprise why Manny Liddy, who was given the medal in the state game and had been performing at a high level for Central District, is performing at a decent level at AFL level. And that's where, when people talk about the talent pool being thin, I just kind of go like, yeah, is it really? Like when
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
players like, and then West Coast, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. They also have their mid-season recruit who um, isn't afraid of the ball lately. He's been racking up disposals uh, after he's been drafted as well, and I can see you feverishly
They're both doing
trying to
the
find it.
was it Joe?
I I can't remember his name. I think it might McCarthy. Tom McCarthy
Yeah.
is his name. Um, but he's West Coast mid season recruit,
Yeah.
and yeah,
He was right up there,
but
for their disposals and yeah. And
yeah,
disposal
just for
efficiency
Liddy, just
for
wanted
him
to
too.
shout him
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I've got a lot of love for Matty Liddy's game in general, actually. And yeah, it is an interesting side discussion, and not one to get into too much here, since we're talking about this game. But yeah, your point about talent pools and stuff like that. It's a discussion that comes like, it's funny when I hear it in the AFL world and people going, you can't go to 20 teams, and people are doing it with the AFLW as well, and all the brain rot conversations that happen around what's going on with the AFLW. Obviously, us as W lovers, we're saying that the AFLW is actually just going fine, and everyone that's overreacting about it are idiots. Yeah,
Impatient.
yeah, when the NHL expanded recently a couple of times, it happens. The NBA, that's the talks of expansion are happening, and just like it always comes up like, oh, talent pool, talent pool, talent pool. It's just a reaction to you thinking, because there's bad. Every sport that's designed to have one winner and then everyone else loses, that it's always going to have a perception that there's a bad talent pool because there's bad teams, but
And occasionally you get bad games of sport.
Yeah, like Richmond Essendon, like it's funny they're talking to Zach Merritt in AFL 360, and they're like, "Do you feel it when you're out there?" He's like, "Yeah, you do." It's just like it's a fascinating sports. That's why I love sports, is because you can get bad games and you can get like, if I was an Essendon fan, like yeah, it probably would have sucked and they lost, or Richmond or whatever. But like we've been parts of bad games that we've got good memories
Mm,
of still in weird ways, and talent pools like when there's 32 teams in a competition like there is some American sports, or whether it be 18 with us, there's one team that wins at the end of the year. There's one team that finishes at the bottom. And there's everything in between. There's always going to look like there's never going to be enough talent because the bad team looks bad because they're the worst one, and then everything in between. If you had,
hmm
it's just the way the cookie crumbles. It shakes out that there's going to be a team that loses more often than not, and one that wins ultimately at the end of the day. Doesn't mean the talent pool's bad. It's just sometimes it's the coaching group you have at those teams, and sometimes the development and what's going on around it. It's just Manny. Yeah, to your point, Manny Liddy's a perfect example of why some got, again, not non-linear development as well. Like he's been in the draft pool for a few times in the last few years. Didn't get drafted. Finally gets his chance, and he's showing that. While we're not saying he's an All Australian or going to be up there in the best and fairest,
No.
whatever, he's showing that he can play at the level, has got the maturity to play at the level, some calmness and composure, and can perform. Like he's
Play a role.
fitting into a side, winning games, and actually playing beyond playing a role. He's actually like you notice him out there. I mean, beyond the leg sleeve, you notice
The
his
sleeve, yeah.
you notice his impact as far as just his play and his composure with the ball, and some of his game intelligence as well. So it's great to see, and long may I've been all the additions of different things coming into the AFL are some things are not as hot on, but like the mid-season draft has been really cool to see some of these players that come in, whether it be Manny Liddy's this year, Logan Evans, obviously we had fun with last year. He's doing, we still have high hopes for him in the future. Jed McEntee's a poison chalice for some Port fans, but he has had a decent, like considering he's a mid-season draftee, he's had a good, he had a decent run there for a while too. So
Yeah.
it does show that there is talent out there, and it's just how you utilize them, particularly with when they're the last six players on the start game day sheet. They're role player. They're not the stars. They're not going to be what everything runs through. It's a very difficult role to play, to try to be the addition to the core. And Manny Liddy's doing that really well. He's playing a role that you have your core of the team where the ball runs through. That's where the channels are run through, and then these guys are around that to try to facilitate and help that out. And Manny Liddy's playing that role really, really well. So a very, very good spotlight by you, because he deserves it. I'm very glad to see him back in, and with the injuries happening, I hope he stays. And at this point, he should be a lock for the side for the rest of the season. Injuries or other things, notwithstanding. He's definitely earned his role.
Yeah, and as an AFL community, typically we've just been addicted to shiny new toys and young talent. And
Mm.
at a point before the mid-season draft came in, it was just perpetual expectation that, like, you bring in youth, you need to develop youth, and then once you pass the age of 21, like that's it, you've lost your chance. Unless, like a Geelong, who have kind of been the front runners in signing mature age players, more than the average club. Yeah, but clearly shows that there's no expiry date to when you can enter the AFL, and that there's nothing to say that you can't impact at some level, once you're in the system. And like you said, like, there is a benefit to him having years in the legs and having a sense of maturity, being in the real world, before coming into the AFL, being a fridge technician, as Matt Hill mentioned in one call. But yeah, um, happy for him. Happy that he's contributing as a role player, because, like you said, teams need role players, and we've discussed before, you just can't have 23 out and out superstars. You need guys that are just going to fill the gaps, and I think he's doing it at a good level at the moment. I obviously hope that he can potentially find another level, but considering he's in his first handful of AFL games, yeah, super impressed with his contributions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, touching on we obviously talked about Lord's work, but I always like to focus in on how the ruck game worked. Sweet. I mean, again, you're maybe playing. It's the opponents are a part of it, but I mean, he's top 5 for average hitouts. I had noticed.
I saw that. Yeah.
Shared on Insta earlier for his hitouts per game. Again, and again, second Eddie mentioned. He said, he mentioned when we were doing the mid-year review, hitouts being one of the most worthless stats, which I understand his point to it, but there is also it's what you read into what was doing, and our overall clearance and possession game from both, I mean, predominantly from stoppage. We did win the center clearance game 10-7, but the stoppage game was incredible. Insane numbers like you've never seen. I don't want to do that guy's impression again, but it just seemed appropriate because we haven't seen these kind of numbers. It's rare that you see the kind of domination that we had at the stoppage, which was 43-19. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. It's like video game kind of territory.
Yeah, it's like when you say all those like memes where it's like, your team loses a Super Bowl, so you go on and jump on Madden and beat the Kansas City Chiefs like 300-7.
Just to get it out of your system.
Exactly. Yeah. It's called therapy.
Yeah, well, Jordan Sweet's it's an interesting case study for this year. If you told him at the start of the year that he was going to be top 5 for average hitouts in the competition at 2/3 of the way in, you'd be thinking he's had a pretty good year. And in some ways he has, and in some ways he hasn't. I think maybe myself and a lot of people perhaps expected him to contribute more in general play, and I don't think it's for lack of trying. And then when you have a Zach Butters getting 38 and JHF getting north of 25, that there's only so many disposals to go around.
Yeah.
But when you strip it back, and I mean, it kind of got briefly touched on in commentary, this is only his second disposal or whatever it was in the third quarter. I think it got mentioned, but he's there to ruck. He got 41 hitouts, 16 to advantage. So he's and between Flynn and Williams, he's nearly got him covered for hitouts total, and he's nearly doubled. Well, he has doubled, hitouts to advantage for both of them combined. So you go, that's your job. And like you just said, we dominated clearance. So an interesting year for Sweet, but his contribution in this game is all you can really ask for. His 5 disposals were all contested as well. So if there's a ball to be won, at least you're not getting a cheapie or anything like that. And yes, while hitouts total take it with a grain of salt, his hitouts to advantage was still phenomenal in the context of the game. So what more can you ask for?
Exactly. That's what I really keyed in on, and particularly when we look at the score sources for the game, as far as obviously turnover we talked about, which was not good for us. But when you look at stoppage, we kicked 9 goals, 7, 61 to their 1 goals, 2, 8. So it was like that was where we won the game, and where we turned over our turnover discrepancy was by being dominant from stoppage and getting the score source from there. And that was a lot of that obviously down to Jordan Sweet, and then it comes down to your balls like Ollie Wines was a beast in the clearance game, and then his cohorts and the likes of Butters and HORNE-FRANCIS and co as well. But it was those 3 in particular. But yeah, you don't get to have some of that without the ruckman doing an able job, and he did the job needed for us to dominate at stoppage, dominate clearance in general, but particularly at the stoppage, and ultimately that's where we found our dominance and our forward half pressure. And I can't opponent aside, you can only play who's in front of you. It's kind of like the Jason Glass.
Just like last week, to be fair, he had a good game against Fort, who yeah, isn't a world beater as well to go along with your comments just then. But yeah, you beat who you presented against, and he's done that with aplomb. We all know that he will get marked on how he performs against the more noteworthy ruckman in the competition, and that's where we really want to key in and see those gains in his game.
He's got a couple of good tests coming up in the next couple of weeks. So
Yeah, so you just keep on keeping on.
mm.
Viz is out for the rest of the year, so
And again, no
go out
disrespect,
there and
but
represent yourself well.
I don't want to see Soldo starting ruckman unless he's the only choice. So
I agree.
Sweet's the
I
guy.
agree. No shade on Soldo, but I agree.
Exactly. Yeah. Sweet's the guy for the rest of the year. Now that Vicentini's not an option, just give him the runway and see what he can do. And even if he loses a few of them, it's hopefully learnings to take into next year
Yeah.
at this point.
I think the thing that I would like to see Sweet develop, even in games such as this, is just develop more of a marking presence around the ground, whether that be offensively or defensively. I think, in games where Mitch Georgiadis has been our only tool, for argument's sake, I would like to see Sweet just present more as a marking option to just help relieve a bit of pressure.
That's where other ruckmen
Or
do
apply
get
a bit of pressure depending
Yeah.
on which way it's going. Sorry, yeah,
on the back of that point, like that's where a lot of other ruckmen sometimes look like they get the win against him is because they do that.
yes,
They either
Yeah.
get forward, take a mark, kick a goal, or they get back and take a couple of defensive marks when they need to, and Sweet just hasn't done enough of that this year. I thought he showed a bit of that last year and at times maybe at the start of this year. I'm trying to think now, but he hasn't. That's not been a consistent part of his game. So yeah, definitely agreed on that point. That just and I think he's got the jukes to do it and the body obviously to do it, and he's fit enough to get down. Like if he's down in position, he's a competitor. So it's an odd thing that, and maybe it's just a usage thing as well, partly, and then partly just maybe a little bit of confidence in that area. But because I think he's got the ability to do it. It's just actually getting in position to do it. So
yeah, use it on the field.
yeah. He will get there, and certainly it's an intriguing part of the fact we're going through this transition into new coaching stuff and whatnot, how they train with these guys going into next year. Anything else in the mids, or are you happy to look at the forward line, which is certainly
Let's go to the forward line.
Yeah. So George had a game.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to cut out there or what you were doing, man. George certainly had a game. Yeah, and break. And cut. Yeah.
He kicked 3 goals, and we won. So, good, but he could have had 8.
But George, you've got a Coleman to win, for fuck's sake. Jesus, you should be leading the Coleman, George.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal in its own right. But you've got in your own way. we want more. We want the sustenance of the goals. We want the dopamine.
It's the fucking when Kylo Ren's just shooting at Luke Skywalker in. Yeah.
As Port Adelaide supporters, we just want continual comparisons to Scott Hodges through Mitch Georgiadis. And
yeah.
Kick 5 goals 3. You got a Coleman to win. Like I said.
One of the there's a scoring shot that's not even on the page because he fucking kicked it out on the fucking full. And the commentators were like, it ended up
giving the crowd a present.
Yeah, the commentators was like, it ended up further away from the goal than where it started, and it reminded me of my FIFA.
Yeah.
So one of the games I played the most was FIFA 2005 because it was before I could afford to buy FIFA every year. So I played FIFA 2005 for 3 years straight. Took Dundee United to European Champions League glory, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And there was a commentary bit. Who's the commentator? I can't think of it, but it was just one of those commentary stings that happens when you. It was Andy Gray, and sometimes you take a pot shot at goal, and it would just fucking blast wide, and you've completely missed it. And Andy Gray in his Scottish accent would be like, if there was a goal next to the goal, he would have missed. It's just
That's a great shout.
And that was fucking. And that's I said on Twitter, I was like, that's one of the worst shots I've ever seen Mitch take. He doesn't take, like we've said a lot, when he's on song, when he misses, it's not by much. That was fucking horrible, and that was right in that period where we were really struggling. I was like, this is getting bad. And it was like
Well, not only that though, not only that is he dropped like 3 marks that he had 2 hands on.
About that, but he did,
including the first quarter where it was basically like a chest mark in the goal square.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, so he's had 3 goals, 5. He's kicked 1 out in the full, and he's dropped 3 genuine marking opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like you've got a Coleman to win, Josh.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that the Port Adelaide Museum doesn't have in it is the Coleman medal. So
yeah. And he'd be right up there with Jezza if he, even if, maybe not kicking. I said he could have kicked 8. He could have, because he had that many opportunities between the marks and stuff. But just kick 5. Like, yeah, as you said, 5-goal-3. Just flip that scoreline at the end. But yeah, I'm not like, geez, he's magical to watch. He's always there. He's as you said, if he gets 4 scoring shots, let's see what happens. But
it is an outstanding year that Mitch is having, and he should 110% be in the All-Australian team.
Oh, yeah.
When you consider the fact that he's had to do it by and large on his own with the aid of small forwards, it is phenomenal where he sits in the Coleman. It's a bit similar to Jack Riewoldt before, like when Jack Riewoldt was younger and Richmond was shit, but he was still putting up good numbers, and he did win 1 or 2 Colemans while they were still crap. That's kind of what it reminds me of, and it's just it's a huge credit to him, how he prepares, his footy IQ, his hard work, everything goes into it. How the way he looks like Scott Hodges, just feed me that, every day of the week, except for the goal kicking. Flip that around, and you just superstar. And not doing Ollie Lord any favors in terms of the age game, because Mitch is 23. But that's why Port surprisingly picked Mitch in the first round, and that's why Ollie Lord was in the 3rd round or 2nd round, whatever it was. So. Yeah, he's a phenomenal talent. Again, fuck Jason Creetz, doesn't know what he's doing. Jeff Parker, sack them all. Don't know how to draft talent. Mitch Georgiadis didn't even have a headshot on draft night. He was that much of a surprise pick. Like when they put up who was selected, he didn't even have a headshot. That's how left field that call was. And from what we're seeing this year, picking him when we did... is paying dividends.
Yeah.
And as is the catchphrase for the CREEDCAST, long may it continue, because it's honestly, the inaccuracy aside, it's an absolute pleasure to watch. And like you go, oh, he's probably going to have a quiet, he's bound to have a quiet weeks at some stage, but just the positions that he gets himself in to be able to take a mark. He's the number 1 marked inside 50 player in the competition as well. Like it just... good opponents, average opponents, whoever comes up against him, he just finds a way to get the ball in his hands and have shots on goal. It's amazing.
He's had, and this is I've just gone into Wheelo ratings and just looking at the leading scorers for the league and what they're. So he's one of 2 in the top maybe 8 that have a negative X score for their year. He's only 0.05 below his X score, which kind of is funny, because what it shows is that he's probably kicking some of the ones he's not expected to kick
harder,
and and so his X score is very, very close to just fucking even. But he's had 71 set shots for the year, which leads the league by 10. The next best being Ben King, who's had 61. Jeremy Cameron, who leads the Commons, had 58 set shots. Jeremy Cameron, where he's excels, is he's had 31 shots from general play, whereas Mitch Georgiadis had 16. One of those being the opener on Sunday afternoon. But yeah, like he's had 71 set shots, and a lot of them in reasonable position. And again, the irony of the X score thing is like some of those set shots are those angle ones where he more often than not is like those hooks around the body that actually generally the AFL players have just figured that one out from those certain distances just to how to get that one through. But yeah, he's missed some gettable set shots. But again, as you said, he's a pleasure to watch. And he's one of those players that now like he's entering that stratosphere of like this is a guy that sells tickets. Like you look at like where you hit NFL or NBA parlance, whoever whatever leagues, there's
Yeah.
players that just by their name playing they sell tickets. And Mitch Georgiades just because of whether it be the high flying, the goal kicking, all the things he does. He had a decent mark on the day as well when he came upfield for a little bit. I can't remember what quarter that was in, but yeah, he had some moments and. Yeah, long way to continue. I think a couple of mentioned. My spotlight had to spotlight Darcy Byrne-Jones. I thought
I'm
I'm
glad
actually
about that.
my what's that?
I'm glad about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I'm
spotlighting
surprised,
Darcy,
but
and also
yeah,
I'm watch listing Willie. I'm not going to get into the fucking dumbassery of Twitter and everything about body image
yeah. No,
stuff.
go. It's an elephant in the room.
Yeah,
But yeah. So go,
but I
go.
just I
Yeah.
just think that was a
Talk about
game.
DBJ,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then yeah, because obviously it's a discussion point.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. But DBJ, I thought, obviously he kicks the two goals. Incredible. Like, and two, one of them, one of them in general play, a little bit dance step stuff. So very fun, that one. Another one was set shot from an angle as well, around the body stuff. Um, yeah.
off
Just
of a kick from Kane Farrell, which was one of those
one of those fucking,
taking the piss
yeah,
like darts.
yeah.
Yeah,
One of those ones where he
like
just like his
50
foot just
meters
like
away.
digs in. Like it's one of those golf shot kicks that he has. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're much more the guy. I enjoy. I have not played much golf, so you have more of the nuance of the game. But that's just how I see way his leg
Yeah, it's
moves.
more,
Is just
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's kind of more like a 3 or 4 wood, 3 or 4 iron, I should say. Just fucking distance flat.
um, but yeah, DBJ is just like just again. I think I've said this a couple of times on the podcast this year. One of the best credits to his game this year is just he's going about things quietly, kicking a couple of goals, having some really good moments, link up, good inside 50 entries. Just hovering around the half forward and playing his role exactly perfectly. And the best thing you can say about his game is that he has barely featured on Twitter in a negative sense at all this year. It's just like, but not like
Yeah, and
occasionally
every
positive.
year he gets written off as the guy who's going to fall out of the team.
Yeah, but this year it's actually like, yeah, he's in there and he's providing a role, and no one's questioning his spot. There's not a whole lot of praise coming his way either. Maybe that's just people that don't like that have been trying to get him out of the side for years don't want to give him the praise either. But he's just quietly going about it and not causing any waves. But I'm causing a wave now in spotlighting because I thought he's played really, really well all year, and this was a game that we don't win without him just quietly providing that link up and class in that half forward area, as well as obviously down forward when he got his chances.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, real ones will know that he was our top goal involvement player last year. So,
Mhm.
yeah, he has a knack since being shifted into the forward group, and he keeps on keeping on. Like you basically said, chips in here. He didn't have a goal assist in this game, but he had 6 score involvements, and like you said, the 2 goals that he kicked off his own boot. But it's the
Should have had the
um,
best goal assist of all time, possibly, but
oh, which one was that? I can't
the
quite
one where
remember.
he kind of gets pushed out, but he lands on his back and still gets the ball and handballs it over the top. And Joe Richards who's
Ah,
flying in
Joey boy.
yeah, and Joey
Joe.
just shaves left. Just a beautifully aesthetically beautifully.
Was that late? Was that late in the game?
No, it was in the it was when we were
Nah,
getting on top
it
in the third
wasn't.
quarter, I reckon.
Yeah,
Um, I had it in
I
my
trust you anyway. Yeah,
five
but
roughly 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's in my short list for. It's not. I guess I'm teasing forward, but no, it's not. It's not my Wilson Gray pick, so I can mention it. It was just in the
yeah.
short list. Um, it was a beautiful handball though, and yeah, and again, it would have been a goal assist if Joey had finished it off. It was probably the easiest one that Joe had to that point, and and then again he only shaved it left, I think, but yeah, just a beautiful DBJ moment again, just intuition and all that stuff.
Well, he's fairly relentless in his aim to just get the ball moving forward. And if it's on the ground, like there was a few examples in this game where it was kind of messy, it was on the ground, but it was just his uh, penchant to just keep shifting it forward to keep pressure on the West Coast defenders. But then when he has the ball cleanly in hand, just his ability to spot up targets, find correct options, and use
Mm.
the ball wisely. And I mean, this is a guy that's played over 200 games now. He is important. He's important for our development of other players, the development of our game style, and our performances on game day.
Mm.
It's a bit of a similar sentiment towards my feelings with Travis Spoke and the whole 1 year question mark
Yeah.
discussion. But players like him, for a team that's in transition, for a team that's underbelly is quite young, you need guys like that in the side to bring the new wave up and transition our team for future success. And when you're contributing on the scoreboard and playing your role like he is, then you're ticking all the boxes. So yeah, really happy because I watched the game again and kind of had a similar like fuck DBJ is playing well. Like,
Mm.
just one of those like you said, he's not getting any fanfare, but he's also not getting any criticism because he's just ticking the boxes.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, fuck. DBJ's playing a good game. But like we kind of say that most weeks.
Mm. Yeah.
He's
Absolutely.
doing the thing.
Yeah, and it's like he's just going about it quietly, which is what I appreciate about it. And not that he could go about it loudly. I don't care. I've always been a DBJ guy. But just for those that are out there were trying to end his career a few years ago, it's just like, he's reinvented his career too. That's what and we've mentioned it many times, and anyone listening doesn't need to be reminded. But he was he was an All Australian halfback just fucking 5 years ago, and he's reinvented
Mm.
to be someone is playing at a level that's I'm not saying he's all Australian half forward. He's never going to get that because it's either going to be half forwards or midfielders. So, uh,
Nice.
but he's playing at a level that is an absolute high level. Like what he's doing there for me is pretty high level stuff, and I really really appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know. Luco just was out, couldn't find his way into the game. He's only his second game back. It
Yeah.
was a weird game. Obviously bad injuries for a while.
Oh,
Um,
I felt sorry for him for the most part
yeah,
because
that's it. That's
whenever
it.
he did work himself into space or there was a leading lane open for him, we either kicked it on top of his fucking head or kicked it to the advantage side of his defender.
Mm,
Um, there's a couple of moments where you go, oh, you probably could have done a bit more there. Um, and with some persistence, hopefully, yeah, this is his third full game of the
mm,
season for our club. So, yeah, and he's had such a good game in his return that yeah, everyone's expectations are a bit high. But yeah, honestly, and it was compounded by how he started. Just
yeah.
hit him up,
Mm,
get him on the chest, and even play like Zach Butters and JHF, like I mentioned before. I think they were even a couple of culprits when he was in decent spots,
yeah, they
and
were. Yeah.
like I said, had the leading lanes open and whatnot. Yeah, hard to gauge. He misses out. We'll see how it works for the rest of the year.
Mm.
In regards to him, um,
He misses out, but George gets an abundant opportunity. So if that gets split 50, like it's like it's not like a forward didn't get opportunity. It's just like it was very much leaned one way, whereas last week there was both got a bit. So we're still getting
and
opportunity.
does George have 8 scoring shots if Luco's not there?
Yeah,
I'd imagine he still have 4 because that's
exactly
what
right.
that's our plus minus. But
Yeah,
yeah, does he have 8? Yeah, that's it, and that's how the coaches would be looking at it as well. Is how is the forward line as a whole performed
yeah, yeah.
with him in it? So not much to report there. We move on to next week in his regard.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Joe Richards has to be spoken about, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Bit of a standout game. Again, not teasing forward, but we'll probably talk about him again
yeah.
down the track.
Fairly certain. Yeah.
But fairly certain, yeah. But it was a bit of a different game where he just seemed to be everywhere.
Hmm.
And probably overdue reward for a lot of hard work that he has put in over the whole year,
Yeah.
like just running himself senselessly, potentially not getting hit up some of the times, and much like Mitch Georgiadis, he could have done a lot more to help himself on the scoreboard too.
Mm.
And for a guy that we've lauded in his kind of like the clutch moment against GWS, for example, and his accuracy at goal, the Hawthorn game earlier this season to
Yeah.
get us underway there. Yeah, just a strangely inaccurate game, and then one of them being an option to handball to Lukosius, who we were just talking about, uh, running into an open goal square, and he shanks it. So
Mm.
again, yeah, what can
It
you
was
do
one of those
if you're
games that
Jack
we just,
in that moment?
yeah, we had a lot of just head scratches in front of goal, and it's just like it's sim. Again, I mentioned earlier, like the Zach Merritt talking about, you just know you're in one of those games. I wonder if the forwards just have like there's a feeling in the air that you're just like this is a weird game and we're going to miss a lot. I don't know. Um, yeah, did you have anything else more on the forward line, or are you happy to move on to segments and all that fun stuff?
Well, obviously, that there is a bit of an elephant in the room,
Oh yeah, we did
like
touch on
with
that before.
Willie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's worth touching on now.
Mhm.
Um, if you just give me a moment there. Um, you can't. I mean, we can't ignore it.
Mhm.
A lot. You kind of touched on the fact that when a player as polarizing as Willie has somewhat come to be this year, warranted or not, people of opposition supportership are going to have their opinions and they'll make comment. You know, the footy season is unfortunately like that. People tend to speak before they think or type before they think.
Mhm.
Um, so I'd just like to deal with the facts, and that is that he is looking a bit out of shape. But at the end of the day, like, we don't know what's going on. Chris Davies had a press conference today. He said that Willie hasn't been able to train in quite a few weeks. So I don't know why. Um, it may be personal.
Mhm.
Heck, with our injury list, it may be he might be carrying something. I don't
Yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah.
But also at the same time, this is a person that just kicked 3 goals against the reigning premier the week before too. So
And a
while
game that we
I
quite enjoyed of his, I think.
yeah, so while I acknowledge that he's looking out of shape, and it seemingly has just come up out of nowhere. Because I swear at the bye, like I don't think he was looking in this way. And
Mhm.
again, yeah, I don't know all the reasons behind that.
Yeah,
Um, but it, yeah, he's performed pretty well across the whole season. Um, yeah, we're light on for talent. So, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is the coaches will make the right decision. If he needs a break, if he's not feeling it, like we all know that he's gone through a little bit this year and seemingly forever will.
well, across the past couple of years too, whether it be the West Coast, you know, the drugs. I don't know, scandal's not the right word because I just think it's a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to marijuana. Um,
Yeah,
and then you know, the passing of his father obviously affected him deeply. And then I think just keep an eye on social media. I think you know occasionally he shares stuff about people that he knows that have passed on. That I'm sure that's affecting him as he goes on as well. So yeah, we don't know what's going on in his personal life, and I'm never going to speculate. But he's a man that has a lot of deep thoughts and care for family and his loved ones. And if he's had you know heartbreaks along the way, it's going to you know affect where he's at. And you know if he's whether it's be injury that he's not training or if there's personal reasons as well. But yeah, it's just probably the first week that I've noticed that he actually looked because I don't give a shit if you whatever your body shape is, if you've got the stamina to go to a game, you know, I've never and so that's why I don't deal with the people that want to make crass comments about how someone looks. Because, you know, Willie can look however he wants if he's doing what he's doing. But just this week was actually just looked again like I mentioned Lockie Jones at the other end, who looks like a you know, looks like a guy, you know, he could be a WWE fighter. He was short of a gallop. Willie was short of a gallop at the other end. Completely different body compositions. Both two players that probably, you know, you could have a watch list on either of them. Just not out of any great concern for the future. Although, you know, Willie's mentioned at times some of his troubles with compartmentalizing his AFL career. But yeah, he was looked short of the pace on the weekend. And that's what concerned me for the first time this year. Because, yeah, and as you said, just a week ago, he was, you know, chopping it up with the reigning premier.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's funny because it's against his former side too. So whether there's anything in that, I don't know. You know.
Nah, I mean, yeah, he didn't look right.
Yeah. So whether he's
And
carrying an injury, which it could be very because of the way he plays, it's like, you know, there's a lot of guys that look like they're carrying something that aren't showing up in the injury list. So,
or he might have been ill.
yeah,
I don't know, but I'm not ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater in regards to Willie Rioli because by and large, I think he's our second highest goal kicker for the year. Um, if I remember correctly, and yeah, we're talking about a guy who kicked 3 goals against the reigning premier last week, who looked in a similar, you know, he had the same body shape against them, and while it didn't get spoken about then, funnily enough, I'm sure we all noticed, you know, his composition. And if he comes back next week against Hawthorn down in Tassie and kicks 3 goals and has a bit more pep in his step, then, you know, some people may go, oh, well, did I look too much into that?
yeah,
Time will tell.
yeah, and it's interesting being the game that's coming. Yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, yeah, that's teasing forward, and we'll talk about it more in squads. But I mean, Hawthorn with everything that happened at the start earlier this year, that says, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Pep's in that step. Yeah, I was just googling off to the side there or going into my stats page, and yeah, he is far and away a leader for the second most goals. He's got 25 goals in the year, which for a small forward toiling in a bottom half team's forward line is not all that bad. So, yeah, obviously,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you judge someone on their body of work, not 1 week. Although the
exactly.
1 week was pretty piss poor. Like, just absolutely nothing to write home about at all.
Yeah,
didn't feature.
Yeah,
basically.
It was annoying to me just about the commentary about him because the commentators kind of tried to dance around the out of shape look, but I'm like, he's looked like that for weeks, and you haven't brought it up until he's playing badly, and I'm just like, you should, you know, bring that up like weeks ago, like, you know, he's had this look to him for a while now, I think, to me, and you know, if he's performing well, I don't, you know, this week my watch is entirely on his performance, and that's what's annoying is to bring it up because I know people are going to be like, oh, it's you know, the way he looks too, but you know, love Willie, and I look forward to seeing him kick a bag of goals again soon. Yeah, anything else? Are you happy to move on to segments?
Let's do it.
Down, Gray doing brilliantly, getting through to Monfries. That's Gray at his best.
Wilson kicks hard and kicks Crawley.
Wilson Gray, and Jamie gets to go first. But before I mention, let him get on with it, I'll just mention that Josh Sinn's double effort tackle against Brisbane last week was the winner with 76% of the vote. As always, thank you to everyone voting. A reminder, you can vote on Instagram, basically. We're recording this obviously on Tuesday evening. The podcast releases Wednesday morning, and generally I get the votes up on the Instagram stories about 6, 7 p.m. on Wednesday evening. So check them out there. They're up there for 24 hours from Wednesday evening for you to vote on. Jamie, Wilson Gray this week. No shortage of options in my short list, so but you get to go take the pick of the crop here.
Yes. As the game wore on, we weren't starved of Wilson Gray moments in the game, but look, I can't really go past a specky. When you see a specky, you got to call it out, so to speak. 4.5 minutes.
Love a specky.
That'll do. That'll do. Third quarter, 4.5 minutes to go. George uses Sweet as the ladder to get himself up and about, and actually gets one to stick in his two hands while being facetious on my behalf. But,
irony.
On the wing, not in front of goal. Yeah, you know the drill. But yeah, Specky's a Specky in true George fashion. I've even got one of your old badges that has a George Specky on it, and yeah, in very similar, just yeah, that George style.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sean. What a marking threat he is.
He is sweet as a ladder.
Georgiades to half forward.
He's going to take another Mark of the Year contender at some point if he keeps going the way he's going in his career. I mean, he's already got one for what I think is arguably not his best mark in his career. I think the one I've got in the badge, which I've got a bunch more to get on the store when I get that relaunched properly. But I think that one over Gorn is still the best mark he's ever taken. Yeah, but
was that not the one that he because it was the one against Freo that he won Mark of the Year for?
Yeah, which is incredible as well.
Yeah.
But I just think the Gorn one over Gorn when you're taking a mark over an like 7-time All-Australian ruckman like that, it's just like there's a degree of difficulty for me for that one. But yeah,
who's over 2 meters tall.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly.
He's got to get up.
Yeah, in the clouds. Yeah, no, a great pick by you there. Yeah, no, that was definitely in my short list. My pick for the Wilson Gray, I'm going with a little bit of. It's not a There's a 20-second window here, so maybe I'm teasing the limits of the award, but I think it's just I think you'll maybe agree with me once I explain it. And
I've done a couple of team-based ones myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm nominating I'm going to call it the HORNE-FRANCIS Chaos Corridor. About 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. It's just like
I know what you're talking about.
Kick back to the wing. Awkward for Lord. HORNE-FRANCIS back on his feet, and in an instant, he was devastating by hand, and now cuts through the turf. He's got it again, and he's still not out of the picture. Richards through to Boak, starting to test the Eagles' defence now. HORNE-FRANCIS, I think that was his 5th play in that phase of action.
He had 2. He's had 10 in the second quarter, so massive increase in output. Couldn't rely on Zach Butters just to keep doing it after a huge first quarter. Well done, Jason HORNE-FRANCIS there. Just kept going and going.
It's the sequence where HORNE-FRANCIS picks it up halfback. There's a few handballs. It kind of just sometimes ends up on the ground. He bounces it up to himself. He ends up back to him to deliver the ball inside 50, and then to ends up with a DBJ goal. But it's just the fact that the ball moved from halfback to the forward line through HORNE-FRANCIS, through a few handball chains, and he just ended up being there for every one of them. And it's just like it was when he started to take over that was his true injection into the game, and then from then on he was.
I am the captain now.
Yes, he eyed Harley Reid, and Harley Reid was just fucking Tom Hanks the cuck, just like I'm going to listen to you, sir.
I suppose we haven't actually spoken about the Harley Reid.
If it hadn't got to it, it was going to get to it. I was going to bring it up in the Player of the Year votes because we were clearly going to HORNE-FRANCIS. I'm sure he's going to come up there, but I mean, let's talk about it now while we're in the Wilson Gray, because I think HORNE-FRANCIS's just general aura in the game was very Wilson Gray, and the battle with Reid as well. How was it for you in the ground? Because I would have been pounding some perspex if I'd been there.
Just a cool bag. Pounding perspex, poorly cut as well, might I add, and less said about that, the better maybe. But loved it. I think people can't help themselves. But I think it's hypocritical to boo Harley Reid when Port fans are waxing lyrical about the treatment that JHF got when we brought him over here. So I said to my family that I was sitting with, like, I'm not booing him. Like, he's a kid, but fucking, I love it. I love how it built into the game, and then watching the replay afterwards, the commentary team were just kind of watching this thing bubble below the surface, and they mentioned that JHF had been taking a few deep breaths and not engaging and holding off, but then it came a point in time where, like you said, JHF was he started to take over the game, and went mono e mono versus Harley Reid. You know, pick one v pick one. One player, obviously, a couple more years advanced. But you mentioned, going to the football to watch Mitch Georgiadis, stuff like that subplot, the number one draft pick subplot, if you will, that develops is also things that you go to the football for. I love it. Harley's been found out for, that trip against Boki, egregious.
Fucking shit
Has been
stuff. The charge into
the
charge into Rosie's back as well.
He's a hothead 19-year-old, and but the umpires adjudicated it correctly. And like he gave away, what was it, 5 or 6 free kicks on the day? Okay, cool. I'm sure in 5 years' time he won't be doing the same shit wherever he's playing, I might add. I kind of hope he stays at West Coast, to be like, I'm not barracking for him to move. I'm barracking for him.
He's made a rod for his own back with that.
He has.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when maybe he moves, you can say that he lasted more than 1 year, which I'm sure people will 100% do to back him up. But yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was a great subplot to the match as a whole, which needed a bit of that, to be honest. After, from our perspective, after we started, it needed a bit of that. We're gonna see that for the next 10 years. So strap in.
Loved. Obviously the HORNE-FRANCIS with Reid was great. And obviously after that third goal that HORNE-FRANCIS kicks, that really seals it for us. I mean, it was pretty sealed at that point anyway, and it's in your background right now for those watching on YouTube. The fact he just turned around and gave just the big fist pump, like the Cobra straight to him, was just so perfect. And then, but after HORNE-FRANCIS had kicked that miraculous goal for his second one, the fact that just like the camera flashes, because I'm watching in a state of delirium because I'm struggling through this cold flu-y thing that I'm going through right now. And it kind of like the camera's like on, HORNE-FRANCIS having kicked the goal, and then it flashes to suddenly like Butters is basically almost in row one of the seats, and
I know, and getting bent over the signage as well.
And of course, typical Butters, he's just fucking laughing the entire time.
He was laughing the whole game. He was copying it all the time, obviously from his own pure cheekiness, but just smiling assassin.
Yeah, it really added to it, that the fact that the lightning LED effects were going off, and there's catching that, and obviously for the cameras as well. I'm just like,
very dramatic.
What is going on? Yeah, it is very dramatic. It's great. I love it. But great byplay for the game, and as you said, a game that needed maybe something in that last quarter for a game that had been largely forgettable for the large part. We can mention it now too. HORNE-FRANCIS playing with a fucking broken foot for the entirety of the second half, and maybe whatever part of the second quarter that it happened as well. In fact, I think he kicked all 3 of those goals apparently on a broken foot. I don't know which foot it is and how that affected his kicking, but
that's why. Because Ken said that his foot got stepped on, which I imagine. I obviously see that happening, but don't know which one it was. So
I had it. This is a deep cut, but we've lamented HORNE-FRANCIS's kicking at times this year, and I was
and he turned it on.
After he broke his foot, and it just made me think of, I can't remember if it was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, when they're like talking about like cousin Eddie's like daughter's eyes, and they're like, she fell down a well and her eye went that way. She got kicked by a mule and it turned back that way. And I was just like, so HORNE-FRANCIS just had to get his foot stepped on to kick straight, did he, or something like that?
Kick straight. Well, it worked. Yeah.
But the byplay with Reid was great. Obviously, your words about the booing of Reid, it's right. But he there's a few of them on the night that like he asked for it a little bit, just in the game, not as a general like.
Yeah, that's a fair call.
Like if it's a response to something,
booing off the bat for no reason is just stupid. And hypocritical if as a Port fan. But if then you do something or some things during a game of football, then I guess it's fair
which I wonder if there was because there was the boat trip, I didn't even notice on watching live.
No, not the July.
Yeah.
And I'd watched a replay and I was like, what am I looking for here?
Yeah.
So I think there was a comment like, oh God, like, can't do that or something like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
what am I looking for here? Or like, I was like, what's the free kick being paid for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then obviously when it was isolated in AFL 360, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, Gary Lyon was pretty scathing on it. And the one that I noticed on the day that got me kind of, booing in my lounge room, so to speak, was the one where he charged into the back of Rosie. Was just like that's just
bit of a dog act.
Yeah, it is. And he's clearly just stepping over that line way too much at the moment. But he's leading the line against he also was probably their best player on the field, so that's kind of the
absolutely yeah. What a weight to bear. As such a young man. And as I said, like, he'll grow up. I mean, Toby Green, our own JHF.
Yeah.
Like, hotheads in the competition are immense. And as players, as supporters of the clubs that these people play for, you love them. And if you're an opposition fan, then, you're not so fond. But, you wouldn't say no to having them in your side as well.
Absolutely, yeah, no. I remember I was talking to my parents the morning after the game. They just said they're not Port fans, so they mentioned Harley Reid, and my mum kind of just goes, "Oh, do you think he's going to make it?" I was like, he's going to make it. He's got once he gets it. I said once he gets it together between the ears fully as a mature AFL player, he's gonna kill it, and no doubt about that. I was a dickhead at that age too, so I totally understand. Yeah. I'm still a dickhead in some views. All right, ready to get into goal of the week?
Monfries has kicked a goal. Unbelievable. Haven't seen anything like that. It's gone at right angle.
Flashpoint. Stevie Modloff. What a time! Oh! He is floating on air now.
My stout just spilled everywhere. Not badly, but when you take this first sip of a bottle that you forgot you're open, and then it froths everywhere. So that's what's just happened. Anyone watching on YouTube, if you could see me.
That just happened. Yeah,
so that just happened. Anyway, goal of the week. I get to go first, and before I mention my very obvious pick, I think I'll just mention that Jamie's pick for Luco's reverse swing goal from 50 last week won with 89% of the vote. A very popular pick last week with Luco's goal against Brisbane, one of those very, very nice strikes that he had. So that was a winner last week. There's no other pick for me. Getting to it very, very easy this week. JHF goals in general get me a little bit hot under the collar, and when it's a nutmeg, a dribbler from tight angles.
Umpire issues the instructions and the demands. Bailey Williams, HORNE-FRANCIS. Oh, did it get through?
They missed it.
Ridiculous, but sublime. HORNE-FRANCIS kicks the goal and might have the last laugh. Here's the replay.
Does it nutmeg him? He just misses it. It drops on that bounce, and he's a big man, can't get to it.
Ironically nutmegged the best defender of the day in Harry Edwards, who just looked fucking like forlorn and in disbelief at what's happening. Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
You've got hands. Use them.
And the fact it's gone between his legs, like he's just run towards it. And so, like, at some point, the AFL, the Sharon is going to strike my body somewhere if I just get it here. And somehow it's gone between his legs and then fucking ended up through the goal. And he's just
honestly,
what the fuck's happened? It is very, it's very areas of, like, when, the likes of Lionel Messi or whoever just burn defenders and slot it between their legs. And they just go, I've got myself, every part of my defensive teaching has got me in this position to stop this happening, and still somehow it's happened, and it's made me look like a fool in the process. And and it was an incredible timing for the goal. The fact he bursts out it's a stoppage. There's a lot again stoppage score.
Get used to that, Port fans.
Yes,
Get used to
sir.
that.
Yeah. No, I love that one. That was easily my nomination. When I realized I was going first and goal of the week this week, it was like I don't even have to think about this one. So Jamie gets to think about it and figure out what's going second.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm going to go. Oh, we might as well do a JHF double. I might as well nominate the one that comes directly after that one where he is 1v1 versus Reed and then leaves him in his dust and snaps a goal.
Flynn with a tap. HORNE-FRANCIS. Again.
Look at Harley Reid right with HORNE-FRANCIS. Didn't go with him and he made him pay. Have a look at HORNE-FRANCIS give it to him. That's what footy's all about. One-on-one contests.
Which he then continues the byplay, which is fantastic. I do want to give, and I should have done this beforehand, an honourable mention to Travis Boak's goal. It was almost the pure combination of a Wilson Gray moment and a goal of the week, because while he was lining up for goal, people are like the goal crowd's cheering him just for being Travis Boak.
Yeah.
And I gave a shout out to my old man before dragging himself to this game in the cold. My dad was going, and he won't kick it. He's our worst kick for goal. I love Bokey, but he's not going to kick it. And all the while, the crowd's cheering for Travis Boak, and he just absolutely fucking nails it, doesn't he? And then so he gets the second cheer for actually kicking the goal, and I must say, gave my old man a bit of a pat on the back, and he's like, "I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining."
Exactly.
But, and look,
reverse commentator's curse from your old man there.
Exactly. And we had our fun with Travis Boak last year.
Yeah,
starting with what 0-15, and so. To be objective, he isn't the best goal kicker in our side, but it's, like you said, just funny the reverse commentator's curse that happened, and he just split the middle. Fantastic moment. Just watching a guy get cheered before he's even kicked it, and then him nailing it and getting his due plaudits from the crowd afterwards as well. Just hugs all around.
Also,
Bokey, so that was a good moment.
Also, kicked that goal to put us from 2 points to 8 points up and finally got us a goal break on him for the first time since the opening goal of the game. So a very actually important time for him to pop up and ironically being probably the best set shot for goal on the day. Just a standard in front set
Take
shot.
that, you kids.
Yeah, because we didn't get too many of those on the day, and the ones that we did were often missed. So well done, Bokey. I'll just do a quick honourable mention for because the other one that I had in my short list was Joe Richards' second goal, stoppage goal from a throw in the third quarter that Ollie Wines digs out.
Wines,
and Richards just a perfect play because Ollie Wines gets in there, sees Richards has just peeled off the back to receive the handball. It's just a perfect handball. All Richards has to do is use his quick hands and feet and get it onto the foot and kick the goal.
But it was kind of like a diving handball.
It was, yeah.
Which added another layer to it.
It would have
definitely on my short list.
Absolutely my nomination if just JHF hadn't done JHF things in the last quarter. He did, and we're very, very thankful for it. So, let's get into the Player of the Year votes.
Let's do it.
Now it's time for the CREEDCAST Player of the Year voting. I should re-record that right now. I got the Phoebe Buffet sexy voice thing going on. Anyway,
hey boppers, it's a Player of the Year votes.
Just get the camera angle with the whole Warriors thing going on. You get to go first, Jamie. Andrea will love that. You get to go first, Jamie, with your votes this week. Good week for it.
Certainly a good week for it. Obviously, off the top, just wanted to give few honourable mentions. The Little Backman, DZT, Earlier and Farrell for all the reasons we spoke about earlier. Excuse me. Yoda.
That was good. I like that.
But I didn't even say anything.
It's all about. It's
We'll
all
leave it
about.
at that. Leave it at that. Yeah, yeah. My one vote goes for George.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He flips that script around, and he's probably more than likely up a bit higher. But you kick the 3-goal 5 from year 13 disposals, 6 marks, and what was it? 2 other scoring involvements on top of that to round out the 10 for George. Yeah, one of our 5 best players, no doubt about it. My 2 votes goes to Joe Richards, which was probably going against the majority of people. But yeah, standout game, 23 disposals, 7 of which are contested, 460 meters gained, 6 marks, the 2 goals, 3 which you spoke about in his 8 score involvements, 19 pressure acts, 7 tackles, and 4 of those were inside 50, which is coming after trade period, all you can bloody ask for. His obviously his best game for us, and has us now asking weekly, did we win the trade? I'll just note that Dan Houston had 11 disposals on Friday night, but
Who Danston?
Han Dustin. So yeah, Richards in my 2 because Ollie Wines is my 3 votes because, like I said before, I honestly think he had a fantastic game and has gone completely under the radar with the fanfare of other players in our team. But he's had the 25 disposals, 17 of which were contested, 11 ground ball gets. He went at 76% disposal efficiency, like you mentioned earlier in the episode. I mean, our disposal efficiency was pretty shit across the whole night. I think we averaged 66% across the night. So, and Ollie Wines, typically, historically, listeners will know, yeah, he gets seen as the ball burner in our team. So whenever
Historically, he's getting further and further in the background, though, because I feel like we've been saying this since we've done this podcast together. Is it like it's?
I know, yeah, I would agree with that.
Which I love that.
Yeah,
I love that for him. Yeah,
and probably because he's a 200. Who's he at 250 yet? I don't know. 200 plus player. He's matured. He knows what he needs to do. But he had the 366 meters gained too. So sometimes that's even a bit lower to go along with the good.
So he's played 250.
Yeah, absolutely. He's rarely missed a game since he debuted. But yeah, like I was saying, sometimes when his disposal efficiency up, his meters gained are down because he is just picking off the smart choices, giving it to the ball users. But he was actually. There was a couple of kicks. We were going towards the northern end, so it would have been the second or last quarter. But yeah, hitting up a kick like 30 or 40 meters away on the chest, really sublime in the context of Ollie Wines. 5 marks, 6 score involvements, 10 clearances, 20 pressure acts, and 8 of those in the defensive half. If it weren't for almost a joint BOG between the next 2 players, we've obviously lauded him all year for the quietly fantastic year that he's been having, to be honest. And I think he'll be up there in the best and fairest, to be honest, based on his sheer consistency. And we are a different side without him, I think. And
we noticed that those couple of weeks he was out.
Invaluable. He is invaluable, Ollie Wines. 4 votes, JHF. Next to are pretty obvious, I would have thought, while probably being almost joint best on ground in the end, when you consider JHF, my 4 votes, 27 disposals, 12 of those contested, 7 ground ball gets, 620 meters, but he's put the score on the board and kicked the 3 goals, 1 in his 9 score involvements, 9 clearances, 9 inside 50s and 14 pressure acts, which leaves the obvious Zach Butters with 38 disposals. Which is phenomenal. 12 of which were contested, 5 of which were intercepts as well, which I liked. 6 ground ball gets. He went at around 76%. 550 meters gained, 6 marks, 3 score launches, 3 goal assists in his 9 score involvements, 7 clearances and 7 inside 50s. So a bit of partridge in a pear tree stuff from Zach, but he'll be in. If Ollie Wines is in best and fairest contention for us, Zach Butters will be in Brownlow contention at the moment because now he's overtaken Rosie in the Coaches Association Awards, and he's probably a looking to win it once the season is finished if he keeps performing like he is.
Yeah, which is incredible for a side that's not going to make finals.
And that he missed the first 3 weeks of football.
Oh, he missed
3 or 4.
Always
3/4.
Yeah, no, he came back for the St Kilda one, but I always forget, like, it's always like the Hawthorn one is the comeback for me, but it's like I always forget that he came back for St Kilda because we talk about it as like that was a warm up for Hawthorn. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a shit game.
Great votes by you. Only one. It's actually almost a Yahtzee, but I had one change in the one spot.
I had a feeling it would be the case, and I'm pretty sure I know.
It's actually I toyed with the one spot a lot. I don't have George in there though; he's an honorable mention. But it's also like real like your dar spots. Ooh. Like I'm talking like old like English football fans, like your dar says. Like I'm just like. He should have kicked more goals, so I was just like betting on him, like the ones he missed.
You can go to timeout.
Yeah, exactly.
Think long and hard about your actions.
You can think long and hard about that one that fucking missed 2 sets of goals at one point. He had a great game, so it's honorable mention for George. I thought about putting Manny Liddy into my one spot at one point because I thought you spotlighted very, very well.
Nice.
He was highly, highly underrated on the day, and I think he actually had an incredible impact on the game. And I think he was one of our top 6 or 7 players, to be honest, as far as but again, honorable mention. But my one spot, so basically 2 through 5, exactly the same. My one spot, I actually put Darcy Byrne-Jones in, which I know I spotlighted him earlier. I think I had him written down as spotlight when I didn't have him in the one spot, but then I moved him up in the one spot. I just think he deserves the vote. He's going about it in just he's playing his role to perfection. And sometimes I try to work my votes. It's not like I was trying to work my votes at all. It's just like I look at what players' roles are and how they're playing their role, and then how they're playing their role dictates. And, when you look at how Darcy Byrne-Jones is playing his role, you couldn't ask for much more than that. He had 2 opportunities at goal. He took them. He had a decent amount of ball, used it at 70%, had 6 score involvements, a couple of tackles, a couple of stoppage clearances. He had 18 pressure acts, which is right up there for us. Like, that's just exactly what you want from his role. So, yeah, I just was like, when I was toying with that one spot, and again, it's real shitty from me for not giving it to George because he kicked 3 goals, but it's more just like
I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah,
with that one vote.
Yeah,
and I love that DBJ got a vote because he probably could have had more throughout the season thus far, but it just gets overlooked for the more superstar players sometimes.
Exactly, but he maximized opportunity, and then otherwise the votes were all the same. The only stat you didn't mention about Jason Horne-Francis was he dragged his nuts across Harley Reid's face.
He put his nuts on Harley Reid's drum set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that you had Richards in the same spot. I thought I was being a bit of an alternative boy there, putting Wines up.
No, I
love it.
That Wines game, when you look at like those Wines numbers that you mentioned, just when he whether it be the contested numbers or the just some of the clearance numbers, it's just like, you just look at what he did in the guts, and
the clearances were delicious.
Yeah.
But some of the just that maturity, just to wait half a second sometimes to then give the handball, or even just the slip, like the Joe Richards goal, like you mentioned. Just fucking love Ollie. And just what a recruit, what a draft pick in Port Adelaide history. It'll be sorry, I'm just going to gush if I go on any further, but really loving this kind of post shoulder injury co-captaincy kind of era that he's in. And just the fact that it's largely going under the radar, but he's performing fantastically well.
Yeah, it's a weird spot for like a former Brownlow medalist to be just like kind of the he's like almost edging into other guy territory with the way the team is spoken about from outside circles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this is a Brownlow fucking medalist, a deserved Brownlow medalist, as we bang on about all the time. But he's a Brownlow medalist. But yeah, continually overlooked for the shiny newer toys that Port Adelaide possess, and a team with Ollie Wines in it, I feel, with enough balance across the field, is always going to be a look in. And then when you get the quarters like we did the first quarter this game, you go, fucking hell, like, what's the midfield doing with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, that's focusing too much on the negative. Ollie is out and out a positive for our side, and always has been,
Yeah.
and always will be.
Yeah. And I look forward to him having hopefully a fair few more games up his sleeve at Port Adelaide before it calls it a day. Anything more to say on that one? Or I know I facetiously said burn the tape when I posted the post game thing. It's one that, looking back on it, it's a little bit more fun to look back on. But the first fair
It's
bit.
funny how that always happens.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Particularly when you're a footy nuffy. Like, yeah, shit seems real shit in the moment, but yeah, and I mean, even at the ground, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to watch the replay, but typically always enjoy, watching the replay, much more than potentially I think I might in some occasions, and this was certainly in that basket. It was much more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. It's just also has its downfalls for all the reasons that we've spoken about in this episode.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, massively enjoyed it. Watching, obviously, I didn't watch a full replay. Watching the KM video, actually, was quite entertained. So just finishing off, we're looking forward, obviously, as I always mention on this show, that we get around the Creed1870.com patreon.com/the Creed1870 if you want to get around our squad shows that we'll record this Thursday, as we have Hawthorn coming up as our opponent this week down in Launceston at the UTAS Stadium. Looking like shithouse weather down there, by the way. Between 4 and 15 mil.
Oh!
Yeah. Not looking like fun.
Could that level the playing field, though?
Well, as someone who was a shit footballer myself in my youth football days, I used to enjoy wet weather footy because I used to feel like it. Yeah, so yeah, to your point, maybe. Because, that might be where, as we'll get to in a moment, just to touch on our injury list before we close off. Yeah, we're in a little bit of trouble as far as cattle in the yards, go to speak. But yeah, very high chance of showers, most likely in the morning and afternoon. So it's either going to be and it is a 12:10 game down there, I think, to 12:50 our time, so it would be 12:10 down there. Oh, no, sorry, that'd be 1:20 down there or whatever.
Yes.
You guys know what I mean. Who cares?
1:20.
Yeah.
Eastern Standard Time.
My mathin wasn't mathin. But yeah, it's an early afternoon game, so whatever the bulk of the rain looks like it'll be around that time. 4 to 15 mil is a massive range, but it looks like 95% chance that it's going to be fairly damp. So to your point, might even the tables a little bit and bring the game into a little bit more of a contest, which might be where it helps us out with the injuries that we mentioned. Obviously, we found out during the game, Rosie got injured, and it was probably fairly certain that once he was going off and couldn't get through this one, that he was probably going to miss at least a week. The more concerning, well, it's not concerning for the greater prospects of our season, but just concerning for our enjoyment of football for the rest of the year is the HORNE-FRANCIS footy.
Yeah, that's it. And that's all we've got.
Something to fucking watch. Yeah. Especially after that performance he had, probably his best performance of the year. And it's like, and you're never going to see him again this year. Just fuck off. What is this?
No, yeah. Like I wrote on Twitter, fuck this season to hell. Like, honestly, it's just we've played this season with one hand tied behind our back since the get-go. And like, fuck off.
Yeah. Hawthorn aren't getting Will Day back yet. Sam Butler might be back. Josh Weddle's not playing. There's a few others. But, our injury list is how are you feeling? I mean, the odds are quite strong. Hawthorn are paying $1.15 right now, for 5.50, and I think that's probably fair enough.
Yeah, look, yeah. So while we've rightfully applauded how we've come back from the bye, we've gone 4-2 since the
Mhm.
bye. It shouldn't be overlooked. I think we have been favourites in 3 of those 4 games. We wouldn't have been against GWS. So, you take it at face value. We're coming into a pretty tough month, though.
Mhm.
Like, there's no bones about it. It doesn't stop after this week, but this is what we're going to focus on for the time being. And Hawthorn going favourites, rightly so. They're in the top 8. They played better football for more of this year. And we're at a hiding to nothing with our list and who we can or can't bring in.
Mhm.
Um, there are people performing in the Maggies, which does help, that are at AFL standard. We'll all probably be tipping Hawthorn in our official tips, though. It's
Yeah.
pretty much where it is. Yeah, I think the sentiment is the same with any game for the rest of the season. We just want to see our team perform well, have pride in the jumper, and if we can disrupt some of these teams who are highly likely to play finals, then fucking go for it. If that's what it is that brings that internal motivation, then so be it. I just want to see our players make a good account of themselves. I don't expect to win, although with a bit of rain around, it could level the stakes. And we've still, like, Rosie didn't play half of the football in the week, and again we were playing West Coast or whatnot, but we're still capable of playing good football. Is what I'm getting at.
Mm.
Although our injury list is frighteningly long with key players, I might add. Um, And to reiterate again and to circle again, I just want to see a good performance. I don't expect a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, similar sentiments than we went into the Brisbane game with, which was with a lot stronger list as well. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
perform well. Uh, just play disruptor. See what can happen. Yeah, we're at the point of the season that we're obviously not expecting to play finals, but we're still, because we're Port Nuffies, we want to watch the game and hopefully see a performance to at least write home about / podcast home about next Tuesday. So,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
and look, like, I mean, we had similar sentiments going into the gather round game as well, to be fair. And Hawthorn, while they are in the 8, they have had a bit of an indifferent year.
yeah, they've
So
not gone ahead
it's
the
not
way they
like
expected to this year. Um,
yeah, it's not out of the realms of possibility, and they've got some chinks in their armor. Like, they're not unbeatable by
yeah,
any stretch, but we're at a bit of a hiding to nothing. Um, so I look forward to Ken waving his wand and doing his thing and getting us up and about and shifting some magnets that you didn't think would be shifted. And or sorry, I should be crediting Josh Carr for all those positive actions. So yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to
yeah.
feel. I just want a good performance. I'm
It's
going in fairly low expectations.
yeah. As of my sentiments have been for a few weeks now, it's just like it's a good chance at early preseason for next year is how I look at it, and it's against a good quality side. There's a little bit of maybe heat in the kitchen there, but though I would expect some of that is taken out a little bit with the fact we're just at the point of the season it is. The gather round one was obviously the first one since that final, and the season was still alive for everyone there in earnest. And yeah, the picture is very different now. But and with a lot of those protagonists not playing, the likes of Rosie, HORNE-FRANCIS, and co, POWELL-PEPPER, a lot of enforcer kind of presences that aren't going to be playing in this one. So yeah,
Yeah, it was Zach. Zach gets an opportunity to captain,
yes,
which will
yeah,
be
should be
which will
mentioned.
be good. So
Yeah,
dare say he'll turn it on. They'll probably give him a run with. I want to see Ollie lift. I want to see Willem Drew lift. But yeah, we'll
yeah,
we'll get into the nitty gritties of it all, and the lines, and who to watch, who to not watch, who to negate in our Thursday show when we get to it. So, again, for the people on Patreon, we appreciate every single one of you.
Mm-hmm. And if you're not on there yet, get on there. It's the Thursday shows are lots of fun. We enjoy them. I think that about wraps it up for today, though. A lot more fun to review than I was thinking it was going to be at one point on Sunday afternoon. But glad we got to do this one and ultimately end up with talking about a winning game as well. At one point, it looked like it may not be the case. So, glad my throat and voice got through this one as well. It's about dead at this point, but we got through it, and look forward to being down there at Adelaide Oval. Well, it's a few weeks away. Hopefully they've got some Guinness left in a few weeks. Unlikely, but whatever. We'll see you all.
We'll see.
Get dark beer in Adelaide Oval. God damn it.
Just do it.
Yeah. I will see you all on Thursday, well, those that are on the Patreon and those of you that are about to sign up, having listened to us talk about it. Otherwise, of course, I will see you next Tuesday for the review show as well. Nothing more to say.
Down the pair.
Down the pair.
See you guys.